Greetings, this is Russ Moody, bringing another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. This time we've got 2,500 points, Dwarves versus Skaven, meeting engagement, and we'll go over this in a little bit. The meeting engagement ended up really messing with the Skaven army here. Here's an overview of the entire battlefield. You can see all the terrain, hill, forest, some houses with some walls that Skaven are apparently going to have to assault. And it seems that there was a dispute between my Gracier and the Warlord. As what we got here is what ended up on the table. We've got a Rat Dart, a unit of 50 slaves, a big unit of 34 Plague Monks with a Plague Priest in there, Wolf Lightning Cannon, 50 Clan Rats with shields and spears, and in there's a Warlord with a Fellblade, and a Rattling Gun, and another Rat Dart. And what did not show up, like I said, there was probably some kind of a dispute here. Well, the Gutter Runners, obviously they're ambushing, and right there, you see the Gracier and the Bunker, and the BSB chose not to show up. The Hell Pit and the Doom Mill, and a unit of 50 slaves also did not show up, along with this unit of Plague Sensor Bearers. Yeah, it was a ton of ones. So half the army chose not to show up. Yeah. On the dwarf side, he didn't get away unscathed. He's missing a cannon, big unit of 20 thunderers, and a small unit of rangers. So here are my spells. I took from Ruin, as there's no Storm Banner in this list, which I think it's not that bad of a list. It's a bit of a step up from what I've been doing, but what needs to happen is I need to take away that unit of Clan Rats, put in the Storm Room with Storm Banner. So what I did to confiscate was take from Ruin so that I had the Howling Warp Gale, as you see, Warp Lightning, and Death Frenzy, and the Dreaded 13th. And my Plague Priest ended up with Pestilent Breath, because I think he rolled Plague, so I just swapped for Pestilent Breath because I didn't see him casting Plague. Not on Dwarves, they're too tough. This is my failed Frenzy check on turn 1, and the Plague Monks charge on him. Everything else moves up. The slaves kind of hold back a little bit. Everything's kind of waiting for the Gracier to choose to get out of bed, I guess. And there they are. And my magic 9. So good phase. That's Death Frenzy is cast on this big block of rats with spears. And the Warp Lightning Cannon takes aim, fires, and blows up this dwarf cannon. So that went well. The dwarf turn. These dwarves charge into the Rat Dart to get redirected, or so I thought. It did not work out as I planned. There you can see the gyrocopters moved up, and the organ gun fires. Oh, sorry, that was just the ranger showing up. Right here, there's the hammers. The gyrocopter moves up to burn this Rat Dart, and the cannon shows up. There you can see those thunders are actually inside the building, which they cause all sorts of problems. Now here's the organ gun firing, and it kills a lot of rats. This organ gun fires and does 4 wounds to the Doom Wheel. So, and the gyrocopter roasts some rats and they run away. And the Grudge Thrower, yeah, this is a dwarf listed. There's 6 war machines in case you're trying to count. 6 war machines and 2 gyrocopters. So that hits those rats and kills a whole bunch more. And this one hits the Plague Monks and kills a bunch of them. So right here, the combat, and here's where I kind of overestimated things. I've tried to use Rat Darts and I just can't get them down. So I think I'm just going to kick them out and be like, you know what, I can't use you, right? So I'll just get rid of them. Because what happens here is they kill off every single one of these every rat, and so they just reform, which was not the plan. The plan was for them to have to chase them down or not, Anyway, either way, you probably would have chose to reform. As it is, things are kind of okay here. Except for then I go ahead and do this. The plague monks and the rats with spears charged the hammers, who fled, and then I tried to redirect with the spears and I failed. So what ended up happening was that they did this. The Longbeards managed to get out of line of sight when they reformed, and so I was hoping to either, was to redirect towards the cannon and did not do that. And here is there's, you can see the fleeing hammers. They ran far. And this, I charged the gyrocopter with the slaves. The gyrocopter fled, and these slaves managed to roll. You can see their roll to charge there. So 17 inches, which is about what they needed. I think this organ gun was like 17 inches away. So managed to get to the organ gun, and there's the gyrocopter. And everything else, random movement, I kind of crisscrossed. The hell pit ends up going on into this rat dart, just because, didn't have anywhere else to really go. I mean, I could have moved him sideways or out the other way, but that was counterproductive, so he's just going to bump into them and get rid of them. And the bunker moves up, and the plague sensor bears move up. This is my magic phase, which is a 5, so as you can see, not much is going to happen. Except for there's my irresistible force miscast, which is Howling Warp Gale. And you can see there's the Warp Bagmaster still running away. My Warp Lightning Cannon proceeds to roll a misfire on the bounce, so it has an effective string 0 and does nothing. And here, I believe that's the Rattling Gun that kills 2 of those guys. And my Gutter Runners show up and take 2 wounds off of this organ gun. Here you can see the slaves managed to win combat against that organ gun. Go figure that. And then the organ gun proceeds to actually break. Stubborn leadership 9 apparently was not good enough, so it ran, and the slaves overrun into this fleeing gyrocopter, which is now also destroyed. So things can be going better on that flank. Dwarf turn. The Longbeards do what is a no-brainer, and they charge on in here. And the Hammers manage to rally. And these Rangers turn. They actually have throwing axes, so that's going to help. And the gyrocopter moves up here to take out the plague sensor bearers, which is what I was going to hopefully use to take out those Longbeards. Right here, this is a grudge thrower that's misfired, and the cannon fires and does 2 wounds to the helpit. The thunders fire and kill a bunch of gutter runners, who actually manage to stick around, and the gyrocopter flings a bunch of them. They're frenzied, they don't care. And in combat, you'll see that the Longbeards just, oh man, hatred just does such a number. They killed way too many rats, and so now they are no longer steadfast and get run down. The Longbeards overrun into the plague monks. Over here, I just march up the slaves towards those hammers, and the Doomwheel and the Hellpit move up to try and get to those hammers as well. The Plague Monks move, and I think they failed the charge. No, sorry, they're in combat, so they can't, so I just move the slaves up to hopefully maybe charge some more machines. And the Plague Sensor Bearers move around to get closer. The Gutter Runners just move to try and finish off that organ gun. And here again is my magic phase of a 5. So, Rattling Gun fires, puts 2 wounds on the gyrocopter. This one fires, and that's an 8, so it shoots in a random direction. And the Warp Lightning Cannon misfires again on the bounce again. The Longbeards win combat against the Plague Monks. and the plague monks flee. So their frenzy is now gone, and luckily they have a very poor pursuit roll, except for it's dwarf turn next. So what do? The dwarves go into the flank of the Skaven. In case you're wondering, this could in a way be almost a how-to of how to defeat a Skaven army. What you do is you get in the flank with a good combat unit, and you just go from flank to flank to flank, and just sweep the entire army off the table, which is what this unit is doing. Here, the hammers charge into these slaves. Well, that's so much for them. And the Rangers decide to just move up a little bit. And the gyrocopter is going to go over here and attack the bunker. The Rangers shoot and kill 2 of these plague sensor bearers. I mean, I think it was long range and skirmishing, and yeah, a bunch of 6s were rolled. So, and the Thunders fire and kill off the last of the gunner runners, which not surprising. There's 20 shots there. So, the grudge thrower hits, kills a couple of rats, and the cannon, dwarf cannon fires and takes out the wall in front of the warp lightning cannon. And here the bunker gets burned, and a bunch of them die. So it's a much smaller bunker now, which is unfortunate. And of course here the slaves obviously lose combat, and yeah, you can see they lost combat and explode. So here these slaves fighting, they lose combat, but yeah, they're steadfast, and because of their strength in numbers, they're leadership 5. They made a leadership 5 break test, so those slaves are actually going to keep fighting the hammers. Go slaves! That's a slave block. That I don't know. They wanted to prove themselves, I guess. So Skaven turn, I decided to take the helpet and the doom mill on into these longbeards because they've got to die. They have killed way too many Skaven rats. The plague monks reform and rally, and more. You can see more fighting there. I actually kill another. There's a dead hammer there, and this lone plague sensor bear moves towards to get engaged with the cannon. And you can kind of see there's the bigger picture of the battlefield, the weapon teams, and the cannon. Here's my next magic phase, which is a 4. So yeah, well, you can guess how that's gonna go. And there's a Warbinding Cannon, which again misfires on the bounce. So frustrating. My dice betrayed me. The Gracier definitely needs to go have a talk with the Warlock engineers in his army. They are a bunch of traitors. So the Rattling Gun manages to kill this gyrocopter. This Rattling Gun kills a bunch of Rangers, but they stay. These fighting against the that's a Warp Lightning from the Doom Wheel, kills those 2. And you can see between the Doom Wheel and the Hell Pit, and one more, I think that one more dwarf dies, but that's because that's the Thunderstomp kills 1. It's ridiculous. This was actually just what happened from impact hits and in combat that killed all those guys. The remaining dwarf managed to put the last wound on the Doom Wheel and kill it. And as you can see, there's that. We're going to take care of the Thunderstomp in a second. Here, the slaves lose again and pop. To nobody's surprise, but they've already done wonders. And the hammers just kind of reform. So dwarf turn, the hammers, I think they either moved up or failed charged. These rangers move up to try and take out that plague sensor bearer. The thunderers fire and take out the Rattling Gun. This cannon fires and rolls a 1 to wound on the Warp Lightning cannon. Grudge Thrower hits the bunker, and just this is the strength 4 Grudge Thrower, so it just annihilated so many clan rats. I managed to make my 7 and stay. There's the other one fires, and I believe that's a misfire. But as you can see, misfire 6. So There's the Hell Pit finishing off the last of the Longbeards. And the Plague Monks, I believe they were either too far away, and so I just moved them up. I think that's what happened there. This Plague Sense was neglected, and so he charges into this. This is my grudge thrower. It's actually a dwarf mortar, kind of fun conversion. And here the Hell Pit moves up, and everything moves up. This was a roll to get the dreaded 13th. The Warp Lightning Cannon misfires on the bounce again. And there's the Plague Sensor Bearer. He finished off the Grudge Thrower and overruns. Here, Plague Monks fighting. They I think the Hammers charged in them. The Hammers charge here, and that's not going to go so well. I still have the Plague Banner, so I'm going to pop it, but without Frenzy, it's not that good of a situation. Here's these Rangers. They shoot and kill the Rattling Gun, and the Thunders shoot and kill the Hell Pit. Just so many. They had to do 4 wounds to that thing. It was, yeah, that was way too many wounds. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I rolled out. I think my regens was a little bit low, but not that low. They just did a ton of wounds. Cannon shoots and brings down the artillery duel is over now. With the Warp Lightning Cannon being killed. And here you can see I killed quite a few hammers, but not nearly as many as the hammers killed the Plague Monks. They just, again, it's that hatred, and hammers are actually really, especially with hatred, and if they have a higher weapon skill than you, just So they run, and you can see they fail to catch the Plague Monks. This Sensor Bearer goes to finish off this other cannon, and you can see the Plague Monks still running. Here, finally, I think I get a good magic phase, and I roll for dreaded 13th, and that's what happens. So yeah, I think this was either my I think this was my 4th time attempting to cast this spell this game, and I never got any of them off. Every time 6 dice, nothing. And here he kills one in combat and wins, but they hold. And those double 6s. Oh, okay. So what happened is, I think I'm missing a picture, but the hammers managed to charge the bunker. I fled, and those double 6s was the roll on the charge for the hammers. So they caught and destroyed the bunker without any rats even offering resistance. Because as we know, when we've seen this unit of hammers in combat, that's what they do, is they run 12 inches. I'm not sure why, but man, they're just speedy. Here, the Plague Sensor Bearer manages to kill, another dwarf crewman, and at this point, this is all this game really have left. As you see, the Plague Monks now leave the table, so I don't even know what turn it is, but we just decided to fight this out until this guy finally kills that last crewman, and the Thunders fire on the dwarf turn and finish the job, which I believe this is probably turn 6. So there you have it. The dwarves managed to. This is what's left of the dwarves. You can see there's hammers, there's a cannon. Oh, well, actually, that's a Grudge Thrower, and it's another conversion. And over there, you can see the Thunders and those 2 Rangers. So and no Skaven left alive. So there you have it. Thoughts. 6 dwarf war machines is just plain nasty. It's just so much killing power. And here, it would have been a completely. I don't know how good this list was. I think it's a little bit too much on the war machines. I think the Skaven list is relatively solid. Like I said, I think I need to switch out, put in the storm banner, throw in some storm vermin. But really, just with the meeting engagement in Skaven, things tend not to go that well. That and dawn attack also just. But yeah, I mean, having so many units just not show up and not start on the board, against this type of a dwarf list, I needed every single body available. Some things could have stayed off. Honestly, if the rat darts had not, showed up, that would have been okay. But as it was, missing the bunker, which slowed down the advance, and then also that other unit of clan rats, and not having the Doom Mill and the Hell Pit where they can get to the dwarf lines as fast as possible was also a problem. So, well, there you have it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.